We are debating the crisis in the Congress party and whether the Congress president elections are now under a cloud and what happens next. Do the Gandhis have a plan B, etc. But before I get into my discussion, I'm straight, of course, headed to Jaipur, where my colleague Ranjita is joining us from. This is where Ranjita हमें बताया जा रहा है कि वो जो अजय माकन की रिपोर्ट थी रिबेलियन पे, राजस्थान के रिबेलियन पे, वो सबमिट कर दी गई है. क्या ये कहना ठीक होगा कि चीफ मिनिस्टर अशोक गहलोत को कांग्रेस ने क्लीन चिट दे दी है पूरे मामले में?
देखिए श्रेया, कह सकते हैं जो राजस्थान का घटनाक्रम चल रहा है, ऐसे में ये इस रिपोर्ट पर न सिर्फ राजस्थान में नजर थी बल्कि दिल्ली में भी, क्योंकि अशोक गहलोत बताए जा रहे हैं कि अब भी वो राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष के रेस में सबसे आगे चल रहे हैं. ऐसे में उनको क्लीन चिट मिलना इस बात की ओर भी इशारा कर रहा है कि लीडरशिप जो है वो अशोक गहलोत के साथ खड़ी नजर आ रही है. अशोक गहलोत की जो 3 करीबी नेता हैं, खास करके शांति धारीवाल, जिनके आवास पर बैठक हुई, तो ऐसे में सबसे ज्यादा सवाल जो है वो शांति धारीवाल के ऊपर उठ रहा था कि जिस समय विधायक दल की बैठक बुलाई गई उस समय पैरेलली बैठक करना अनुशासनहीनता है और इसी वजह से उन पर कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए. इसके अलावा महेश जोशी जो चीफ विप हैं, उन पर आरोप ये है कि विधायकों को फोन कर एड्रेस गलत बताया गया उनकी तरफ से और यही वजह है कि कई जो विधायक हैं वो धोखे में आए और विधायक जो है विधायक दल की बैठक में नहीं पहुंच सके. धर्मेंद्र राठौर का भी नाम सामने आ रहा है, ये भी गहलोत गुट के ही नेता कहे जाते हैं, वो भी उनको भी नोटिस जारी किया जा सकता है. लेकिन जो पूरी प्रक्रिया इसके बाद श्रेया जो बनकर निकल रही है वो ये कि अनुशासनात्मक कमेटी जो एआईसीसी की है उसके हेड AK एंटनी है, उनको कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष ने दिल्ली बुला लिया है. रात 10 बजे वो दिल्ली पहुंचेंगे और कल सोनिया गांधी से उनकी मुलाकात है. तो ऐसे में जो अनुशासनात्मक कमेटी है उसकी बैठक हो सकती है और उस बैठक में जिन नेताओं पर आरोप लगाए गए हैं रिपोर्ट में उनको नोटिस बताओ, कारण बताओ नोटिस जारी किया जा सकता है और जब उनके जवाब से संतुष्ट नहीं होंगे तो उसके बाद कार्रवाई होगी. तो ये पूरा प्रोसेस है कांग्रेस का. अब तक जिस तरह से कांग्रेस के नेताओं पर आरोप लगते रहे हैं पार्टी विरोधी गतिविधि के, उसके बाद ये प्रक्रिया होती है. लेकिन साफ तौर पर अशोक गहलोत पर किसी तरह का सीधा आरोप नहीं लगा है. क्लीन चिट इसे माना जाए और ये भी माना जाए कि जिस तरह से ये बताया जा रहा था कि लीडरशिप नाराज भी चल रही है, कहीं ना कहीं मध्यस्थता का काम मल्लिकार्जुन खड़गे ने भी किया है पर्यवेक्षक के तौर पर.
रंजिता, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. आप कह रही हैं एक तरह से इसे क्लीन चिट ही देखना चाहिए. लेट मी क्विकली इंट्रोड्यूस माय गेस्ट टू यू दिस इवनिंग. Tehseen Poonawalla is a political analyst joining us on the broadcast. Lokesh Jindal is a political analyst. Ashutosh is a senior journalist, and Sandip Ghose is an author, someone who tracks the happenings in the Congress party very closely, and a lot has been happening over the last couple of months. Tehseen Poonawalla, do we realistically believe even for 1 minute that Mr. Gehlot was unaware of what his MLAs and his close associates were up to? All very well to give Mr. Ashok Gehlot the clean sheet, but all of us know who Mr. Joshi reports to. All of us know who Mr. Shanti Dhariwal reports to.
But Shreya, good evening. Thank you for having me on your wonderful show. Isn't that the program that all of you and all of us seem to know more than what the real people actually know? So we make assumptions that this is being orchestrated, this is a rebel. When the people who are in the middle of it come out on your channels and say there is no rebel, come out and give a report, you'll say, oh, but this is only a face-saving measure. From day one, I have maintained one thing, and I have maintained this, and I'm continuing to maintain it. There is absolutely no problem. The government is not toppling. Everything is steady. Yes, Delhi slightly mismanaged Rajasthan. I won't deny that. But everything is fantastic. It's democracy 101. Elected MLAs choose their chief minister. Elected MPs choose their prime minister. And Shreya, let me tell you, 9,000 human delegates in flesh and blood who Shreya Dhoundiyal can interview, who you know who these people are, will choose the next Congress president. Yesterday, Nadda ji became president, like Kim Jong-un, like Saddam Hussein, like Gaddafi. Do you know who selected him? It's termed as an election. Here, there's a living election with living human beings voting for the next Congress president. That's democracy.
Tehseen, you're calling it democracy, but I'm looking at it as gross indiscipline. Look at what has happened in Rajasthan. Is this how a disciplined party works? You're called for a meeting by the High Command and you don't show up. Instead, you show up somewhere else and say, we are resigning if Mr. if Mr. Sachin Pilot is going to be made the chief minister? Is this how a democracy works, or is this indiscipline, Tehseen?
There was no proposal to make anyone chief minister. All that the Delhi leadership was asking for was a resolution to who should be made chief minister, and all the MLAs said, we want to speak directly to the party high command, as it's called, in Delhi. That is it. And MLAs select the chief minister. Let's go back to Punjab. All 78 MLAs voted to remove captain, and they were proved correct because captain joined the BJP. So let's give credit to the Congress party where it's due. There is absolutely no rebellion. It's a disciplined party. And Shreya, would you say discipline is a sitting chief minister sitting in his house watching Mirror Now, suddenly realizes that he's no longer chief minister? I'm talking about Gujarat, and he should take his bag and go, and his secretary is calling up everybody, including your colleagues in Gujarat. Am I chief minister or no? Is discipline 2.5 men deciding why Gadkari ji should be in the parliamentary board or should not be? And Yadurappa ji, who's way past the 75 age limit in BJP, is suddenly got into the parliamentary board because 2.5 men have to face elections in Karnataka. Is discipline what happened in Assam when 2 people were contending for the chief minister's post, and the sitting chief minister could not even stand up and say, I want to fight this election? I want to continue as chief minister. His name wasn't giving. And
Sandip
the best
Ghose?
chief minister, who's now chief minister, was in talk with other parties.
No, ठीक है. What you are telling me is that, look, at least there is inner-party democracy in the Congress party. Where is that democracy in the BJP?
Absolute.
Fact is, that is the point you're making, and you're calling
The
this
Congress
democracy.
is the only democratic party in the country. Only democratic party in the country.
But
It's
this
the
election,
most democratic party in the country.
But this
most
election,
democratic.
Tehseen, will be the first election in 20 years where a Gandhi is not contesting. What sort of inner party democracy is that? Okay, let's get in other people into the debate. Sandip Ghose, you are joining us. Would you want to respond to what Tehseen is saying? They're saying, look, this is discipline. This is part of democracy. This is how democracy works. Sometimes it's messy, but at least it's a democracy. Mr. Ghose, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, there's no point in really responding because
Tehseen is entitled to think his co-panelists don't understand anything. But he might think your TV Mirror Now viewers don't understand anything, but the people of the country understand things, and you just cannot, bluster and bulldoze them to say that, we have great inner-party democracy, we have great control and the rest. People watch, people understand, and even according to, I don't want to get into what he's talking about, the BJP, that's a subject for separate discussion. Here, there are, the problem is they're still trying to pull off a charade in the name of an election. Earlier, I was appearing on a show where they were interviewing Mr. Bansal, and Mr. Bansal said, I have collected 2 nomination forms on behalf of whom we want to nominate. Now, what does he mean? Who he wants to nominate? We want to nominate. Who does the we constitute? Now, so there are, there is this huge amount of, I think, charade which people are saying and then saying that this is democracy. As you rightly pointed out, Tehseen saying with a very great loud voice that only the majority of people will elect who is the chief minister. Now, does that mean that if there's 84 people decide on Gehlot or CP Joshi, they're going to go by? And if that was so, what was the hurry of actually calling this meeting even before Gehlot has filed the nominations? So, and these are therefore, and why do you have to talk to a Kamal Nath and other people? That's pulling, wool over people's eyes. But if they think they are able to convince it, fair. And one more state will go, one more people, other people will disappear, and they'll say that we are the only democratic party. They're entitled to it. But, people know slightly better.
People do know better, but Tehseen wants to come in. Tehseen, come in, then I have a question for Ashutosh. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. I absolutely think the wisdom of the people is absolutely supreme. Therefore, for 61 years out of the 75 years of this country, the glorious history was written by the Congress, because I'm sure your parents and my parents and your grandparents and my grandparents had better knowledge than us. So they knew who to choose, that the people always are supreme. But more importantly and more pertinently, look, Pawan Bansal made it absolutely clear. He collected those forms for future elections. However, let me just put you 101 with how democracy works. Should I, if I was a member of of the Congress choose to have somebody as the president, I can nominate the person by filling a delegate form. So the president form is there. You fill it. You require 10 signatures. So anyone can do it. As long, Sandeep, tomorrow if you join the Congress and you have 10 delegate signature, you can file a form and I can pick up a form for you. That's democracy.
No,
it's
unfortunately,
simple.
you couldn't
it's
pick it.
not Saddam Hussein
Unfortunately, you could not pick it up for your brother.
Unelected.
No, unfortunately, you could not pick it up for your brother, and who was therefore not allowed to enter. He couldn't get 10 forms.
Below the belt.
You should have helped him. You should have helped him now. If you are going to help me, you could have helped him getting
We'll not get personal here. Let the brothers fight their own battles away from...
No problem. Let it be. No problem. No problem. No, I won't shy away. Since you got personal, which I didn't want to, I would have picked up the form for my brother, except I'm not a member of the Congress and he didn't have 10 signatures. And he should have challenged that in court. So let's not be personal out here, Sandeep. Understand how long
you were offering me. You're still not a member of Congress, if I'm not wrong.
Should you join? I said,
if I join, you said
should you join?
Mr. Ghosh, let's not get personal. It's just a debate here, and it's thankfully not a matter of life and death. Most television debates are conducted in such a serious, thunderous manner. You feel, it's a matter of life and death. It's not. I mean, it's not a matter of life and death. So let's not get personal here. Tehseen, what sort of democracy is this? I do want to bring in Ashutosh and Lokesh Jindal in here, but what sort of democracy is this when everyone and their uncles know that while the Gandhis have decided to stay neutral, everyone knows that their Ashirwad was with Ashok Gehlot till the rebellion happened, and now we don't know what's going to happen.
Shreya, since there is a debate about the democracy in the country.
Shreya,
I think...
Sorry. Ashutosh, just a minute. Let Tehseen have his word. I'm coming to you after that. Tehseen, jaldi.
Sorry, Shreya. Sorry, Ashutosh bhai. Sorry, Shreya. वो एक हिंदी में एक मुहावरा है, बच्चा पैदा नहीं हुआ लेकिन हम लोग मुंडन की तैयारी हमने कर दी और किस दुकान से मिठाई लानी है उसकी तैयारी हमने कर दी. यही है, आप लोग अटकले पर अटकले लगा रहे. None of this is true. Gandhis were blessing this, Gandhis were not blessing them. This is outsider, this is insider, this is revolt, this is not. Fact is, Shreya, 9,000 living human beings, delegates, verifiable, who Shreya can see will vote for the next Congress president who can be a man or woman. And that's a big thing. In the BJP, a woman can never be president. It's the band of boys from the RSS who select who will be the president.
No, okay. Ashutosh, you want to come in here? I'm just wondering what happens to these presidential elections, the Congress president elections. Does Mr. Gehlot continue to have the support of the Gandhis even after this rebellion? What do you make of this clean sheet that has now, it seems, been given to him? Because absolutely no one who's been following this story will believe that Mr. Gehlot had no hand in this rebellion that took place.
Shreya, since there is a debate in the panel about the democracy in the country, so I think there is two models of democracy in the country. One model is the Congress model of democracy, which is too much of democracy and chaotic, almost anarchic. Another model is about the BJP, which is almost like authoritarian democracy, where the chief minister is changed and entire cabinet is changed and nobody knows what is going to happen. That's a different kind of democracy. I think what's happening here in Congress party is there is too much of democracy. It's a chaotic democracy. And why I'm saying so, for the simple reason, because I can understand there is an election for the president. I think this is the most welcome step that the Congress party had took in many, many years. There's hardly any political party which holds such an open election. BJP never had an election since 1952 when the Jan Sangh was formed. And RSS never had an election. They are always nominated the president and the chiefs. So at least some semblance of democracy is happening over there. But the issue here is that why Ashok Gehlot has revolted and rebelled. He has revolted and rebelled for the simple reason because the authority of the Nehru-Gandhi family is eroded beyond repair. And I'm using the word very carefully. Their authority has been eroded beyond repair for two reasons. One reason is that Nehru-Gandhi family has failed to win elections with the Congress party, and the normal congressmen and the women have no faith that they can get elected if they are aligned with or listen to Nehru-Gandhi family. Point number two, if the Nehru-Gandhi family, if they decide to be parochial, I think Ashok Gehlot should have been allowed to contest elections. If he had won elections, then he would have been gently asked to resign and get somebody else elected. But before the election process starts, if the CLP meeting is held, if the sitting chief minister is not taken in confidence, if there is no wider consultation with the MLAs, and somebody else was to be bulldozed as the chief minister, like Sachin Pilot, then the Congress party, Congress leadership loses the moral authority also. These are the two reasons.
Ashutosh,
How
can
they are
I
going to
ask you a
repair, I
counter
do not
question
know.
here? I'm asking you a counter question here. Given how hung up the Congress party is on the Gandhis, you are arguing that the authority of the Gandhi family has eroded because of their failure that they haven't won elections. Okay, point taken. But even today, if Mr. Gehlot decides to stand for the Congress president elections, and he might just, we don't know, he may not, no one is very clear, can he win if the party knows that he doesn't have the support of the Gandhis? I doubt it.
See, let's take the question a little bit backward. What has happened in the Congress party today? The man who was supposed to be the next president, and man who was supposed to be the loyalist of the Nehru-Gandhi family, he has betrayed. Now, you imagine that the level of the crisis in the Congress party. I do not know what Ajay Makan has given into its report, but everybody knows 90 MLAs cannot revolt, cannot be rebel if they are not supported by somebody like Ashok Gehlot. Nothing can move without him, I can assure you. So, here the crisis is much deeper. As long as there is no disciplinary action initiated against Ashok Gehlot, he is free to contest elections. He can still fight elections. Whether he's supported by the Nehru-Gandhi family or not supported by Nehru-Gandhi family, that's a different thing. This is an open field. Anybody can contest if he's got 10 nominations, 10 proposals for that matter. My issue is that has Congress thought about it, that why would-be president has revolted against the incumbent president? If that is the level of democracy, then the crisis in the Congress party is much deeper. Because if you go back in history, there had been revolt against the Nehru-Gandhi family, like in 1969, when there was a revolt by syndicates against Indira Gandhi, 1978 when Brahmananda Reddy revolted against Mrs. Gandhi, but that was the time when Mrs. Gandhi could win elections. Since Sonia Gandhi took charge of the Congress party, only Sharad Pawar, P.S. Sangama and Tariq Anwar revolted on a foreign origin. Not anywhere. Nobody till now. So if Sonia Gandhi is openly defied, then where is the writ? Where is the writ? Where is the discipline?
Lokesh Jindal, this can be called, I mean, Congress supporters and Tehseen can call this democracy, but the crisis is much, much deeper as Ashutosh has, elaborated upon. It is much deeper than what you're making it out to be, what the Congress is making it out to be.
Good evening. See, these are being theorized, but if I consider dissent and consensus as two important, I would say, means for democracy. If there is no dissent, there is no democracy at all. Secondly,
but dissent or revolt mein bahut farak hota hai na? Mr. Jindal, there is a difference between dissent and revolt.
Yes, I'll come to it. Now, what has happened is Udaipur Chintan Shivir, it came up with certain resolutions which Congress party was serious about. The first resolution moved in Udaipur Chintan Shivir was one person, one post. Now, there were other set of reforms as well which were proposed. Now, what I perceive is that the MLAs, they would have wanted Mr. Gehlot to continue as a chief minister as well as head the post of a Congress president as well. And that was their expression of dissent, but they got carried away with staging some forum altogether. Gross indiscipline, and which the High Command shall take due action. So here is, it's very important for all the MLAs.
Look at the action the High Command has taken. Look at the report that has been submitted. Everyone and their uncles, as I said, know exactly what happened in Rajasthan, and yet Mr. Gehlot has been given a clean sheet.
Because the thing is, there's a manner in which organization functions, and reforms are being carried out within the party, and that is being welcomed from all sections. As one of the panelists said, that it's really good that reforms are being carried out, elections are being held, a Congress president would be elected. Some steps. MLAs who wanted to show their dissent, there were better means for them. There were better means with which they could have presented their own opinions. So that was indiscipline, and action would be taken against them. for us to perceive that there is the party is under crisis or the government is under pressure. Absolutely not. What I see over here is Congress will continue in Rajasthan and it will.
Yeah, sure.
It will
I
grow
don't think
stronger
anyone is
in time to come.
suggesting. I don't think anyone is suggesting that the government in Rajasthan is in crisis. They have the numbers. How can they be in crisis? But the party certainly is in crisis. The man who was being tipped till 5, 6, 7 days ago to be the next Congress president turns out has orchestrated a revolt against the Gandhis, the very people who were backing him. Now, if this is not a crisis, what is a crisis? Okay, Tehseen, please help me understand where the Gandhis are in all of this. And I don't mean Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, who's trying to do some sort of firefighting. Mr. Rahul Gandhi continues with his Bharat Jodo Yatra. Priyanka Gandhi, we don't know where she is. So it almost seems that, the Gandhis are not in the picture, except Sonia Gandhi. The party can go through whatever chaos it is going through, and we'll just wait it out.
No, that's not completely true. Rahul Gandhi, as we all know, is busy with the Bharat Jodo Yatra. Priyanka ji is very much in India and very much here. But Mrs. Gandhi, as interim president, is, while keeping her hands-off approach from whoever is the candidates who decide to contest, very much making sure everything is all right. Who did Ajay Makan and Kharge ji give the report to? To Mrs. Sonia Gandhi ji. Ultimately, she's the one who's going to call up Ashok Gehlot ji. She's the one who's going to call up Sachin Pilot ji. She's the one who's going to call up and pacify everything. Whatever misunderstandings, if there exist, are. But let me tell you one thing, Shreya, absolutely, and I say this looking at your viewers because I absolutely respect the viewers and your audience. And I think that this is one thing that, anarchy to an extent, even if it's there, but it brings out a churn which helps democracy grow, is good. In fact, Ashutosh's good friend Arvind Kejriwal ji said that he's an anarchist at one time, very famously, when you were at another channel and you covered it. So anarchy that brings out a churn democratically, I think it's good. Let this churn happen. Let the best candidate, man or woman, Shreya, very important. People play this down. A man or woman, both can become president of the Congress. That cannot happen in the RSS.
Where is the woman filing a nomination in the Congress party? The Ashirwad was given to we know who.
Whoever
Mr.
decides
Gehlot.
to. There was no, see, the Gandhis don't function this way. This is, okay, you all are contradicting yourself. Let's assume this Gandhis to be this very powerful body that can control everything. Then why would this revolt happen? So either the Gandhis are very powerful or the Gandhis are not that powerful and democratically elected leaders. No.
Now you've agreed this is a revolt.
No, it's not a democratic, I'm not... No, you all are calling it a revolt. The two can't be true. You all are calling it a revolt. So either they are democratically elected leaders and they go along with the consensus, or they are these powerful people, in which case the so-called revolt that you attribute cannot happen. The two cannot happen simultaneously. They are mutually exclusive to each other.
Sandip Ghose, will we ultimately see then Shashi Tharoor become the president of the Congress party? We do not know which way Mr. Gehlot is going. He is not, he's not telling us what he is going to do. We don't know whether he continues to enjoy the support of the Gandhis after this betrayal or not. Do you see him, A, filing his nominations, B, even if he does, do you see him winning? And C, could there be a scenario, and I'm going to ask this question to Ashutosh as well, could there be a scenario where we'll probably have Shashi Tharoor be the next president of the Congress party?
Shreya, I think this is early days yet. I still believe whosoever will be the president will be a nominee of the Gandhi family. They may put up another new candidate and who will have that support. And what might happen between now and the 30th, you might find some other people throwing their hat into the ring, like Manish Tiwari and others, who may not win, but they will to that extent record their presence out there. Now, I think, if nobody else does, then Shashi Tharoor is a default choice, which you are saying might happen. But the other point I'd like to make quickly, Shreya, Ashutosh was talking about, the authority. I think he has got a valid point there. And the difference is, times change over. And if you assume that the times are not changed, that's where you make an error in judgment. Ashutosh, though, he talked about the example of Gujarat. I can think of 3 instances, including one which was quoted today by an article in Rashid Kidwai and Shubhabrata Bhattacharya, when the Rajasthan Chief Minister was changed because Rajiv Gandhi's jeep was diverted in a wrong direction by a policeman, which these people conjecture was actually those days done at Ashok Gehlot's instance, and Mr. Joshi, who was then the chief minister, got sacked. Before that, we know Virendra Patel, Rajiv Gandhi came to the airport and said, in 3 days, you're going to get a new chief minister. He went to Hyderabad and he called the incumbent chief minister a buffoon, and he resigned. So those things used to happen in a particular time when people wielded a certain authority. Today, that authority has weakened, and I think Sonia Gandhi realizes that. So therefore, if there is a rapprochement we see with Gehlot, or in this report, he has not been mentioned, it is a sign of the times. Because, Gehlot and, let me be very blunt, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh are today the two cash cows of Congress. So, and to dispense of Gehlot at this juncture would also be practically very difficult for them. So there could be some kind of a truce worked out. I don't know how. So it's not really a breaking point as yet.
The fact is that the crisis in Rajasthan has been brewing, Ashutosh, for the last 2 years, since 2020. And this was supposed to be a solution, wasn't it? That Mr. Gehlot moves to Delhi and Sachin Pilot moves as the chief minister to Rajasthan. That was the plan of the Gandhis till 48 hours ago.
Shreya, I think let's call a spade a spade. If anybody who's responsible for the Rajasthan crisis is Sonia Gandhi. Nobody else should be held responsible. Everybody knew from the day one that there is a crisis in Congress party. Sachin Pilot was desperate to become the chief minister. Ashok Gehlot was desperately opposed to him. And these two groups were not willing to sit together and compromise or sort out or to accommodate each other. Everybody knew this. Why the Congress president did not take an action against them? Why the Congress president did not try to mediate between them? Where was the conflict resolution mechanism in the Congress party? So this was waiting to happen. If you postpone a crisis and hiding somewhere else, that does not mean that the crisis has been resolved. So in my opinion, today, if anyone who's to be responsible is Sonia Gandhi and nobody else. Now imagine a situation. Tomorrow, everybody knows Ashok Gehlot is irreplaceable in Rajasthan, despite such an indiscipline. And if he decides to contest elections, if he becomes the party president, what authority will he have, or the moral authority will he have to take action against any indisciplined leader of the Congress party in future? Can he take that? No, he cannot. So here, the authority of the Congress president is eroded. Authority of the Nehru-Gandhi family is also eroded. Now the so-called Ala Kaman is no longer an Ala Kaman, and whatever has happened in Rajasthan, it can easily be repeated in Karnataka or any other state, because everybody knows that how incapacitated the Nehru-Gandhi family or the so-called High Command of the Congress party has become. Who can stop them?
Tehseen,
So
I'm going to give the last word to Tehseen with this very quick question. Tehseen, the point is that politics is very often about perception. And look at the perception that has been going out for the last 72 hours. ये कांग्रेस वाले एक इलेक्शन अपने पार्टी प्रेसिडेंट का ढंग से नहीं कर सकते. That's the impression that goes out. You're calling it democracy. The outside world is viewing this as chaos and a crisis which the Gandhis and the Congress party has not been able to fix in the last 2 years.
एक इलेक्शन ढंग का नहीं करा सकते. जो लोग इलेक्शन बिल्कुल नहीं करते वो दूसरों से पूछ रहे हैं आप इलेक्शन क्यों करवा रहे हो. यहाँ तो इलेक्शन हो रहा है ना. So I think the viewers and the citizens are much more smarter than this. I think they realize that these things happen, especially in a democratic party. Now Ashutosh said that the Gandhis have lost their authority. I disagree. 12 crore people have voted for the Congress. Have they voted for Gehlot Sahab? Have they voted for Sachin Pilot ji? Have they voted for D.K. Shiv Kumar ji? Have they voted for Siddaramaiah ji? Have they voted for Nana Patole ji? They voted for the Gandhis. This Gandhis at their lowest command 12 crore votes in this country, at their lowest. Imagine what will happen when they go at their highest. This is a situation. The Congress is going to a bad phase. I agree with that. Therefore, there are tucks and pulls and pushes. But ultimately, in a democracy, people have the right to choose their MPs, have the right to choose their chief ministers, have the right to choose their prime ministers, and have the right to choose their presidents. And I think that should be accepted, that should be celebrated, and I think that's a good celebration of democracy. I don't think that's a bad celebration of democracy. We are making something that is actually a virtue to be something that's not good for democracy. I think it should be celebrated. It should be put as an example of how democracy works. Look at the American elections, how messy they were. Did we say America's a failed democracy? We didn't say that. Look at the British. Recently, Boris Johnson was removed by his own party. Did we say that's a failed democracy? That's what democracy does. It allows you to ask questions. It's not 1.5 men. Okay, today I thought 8 o'clock I will come on Mirror Now and I will change 500 rupee notes. It doesn't work like that. We have to accommodate people.
Go ahead, Ashutosh, last word. I'm running out of time, but I'll let you have your point.
See, Shreya, democracy without discipline is not democracy. It's mobocracy. I could have imagined that those 90 MLAs who rebelled against, they should have passed a resolution and asked the party high command to hold a CLP meeting and open elections who should be the CLP leader. That's democracy. It's not that the parallel meeting was happening where they have wrote their resignation, had gone to the speaker and submitted there. Is it democracy? I'm sorry, if that is a democracy, then God forbid, what will be the real democracy?
Ashutosh Bhai. No, Ashutosh Bhai. First of all, these are alleged resignations. They are not complete resignations. 90 didn't come. But more importantly, one second, Ashutosh Bhai.
Come on, one second.
All of those 90. Arey, nahi, resignation.
Spirited defense hai tumhara, but
resignation bhi aa gaya, speaker.
Shreya, just 30 seconds.
One second.
I think somebody was talking about charade.
Just allow me to finish.
Ashutosh, give me a minute.
Charade, you know. Yeah.
Tehseen, you finish and then Ashutosh, go ahead.
Shreya, out of these alleged 90 MLAs from one camp or the alleged 20 from another camp, let me tell you, all 120 odd MLAs elected on a Congress symbol, and all 120, this camp or that camp which you all allege, say we are 100% with Mrs. Gandhi, all of them. Not one of them says we are not with Mrs. Gandhi. So where is the question of indiscipline? You all are finding indiscipline when none exists in a democratic process. Now, I can't get into that. I can't correct you all so much also.
What a situation that is playing out in Rajasthan. You have the chief minister with his own MLAs, a rebel with his own MLAs. They are fighting with each other, pushing the party to chaos, and you're saying this is democracy. Go ahead.
No one is fighting. They want.
The fight has been going on for 2 years, and it has been going on in the public eye. It's not a secret at all. It's not a state secret. Everyone knows what is going on.
Mrs. Gandhi patched them up. Mrs. Gandhi patched them up. Priyanka ji patched them up. That's also not a state secret.
Right now would not have happened, Tehseen. Okay, I'm running out of time. You know, my producer is telling me I'm completely out of time.
Right now.
I'll request Tehseen कि थोड़ा बहुत तो हमको बुद्धि का हमारा हिसाब कर रहे थोड़ा बहुत हमको थोड़ी बहुत तो जानकारी राजनीति के बारे में है भाई
आप ही से तो हम ज्ञान देते हैं
I can understand.
Quickly make your point. I'm out of time. You've been a news editor and an anchor. You know what this is like. Go ahead.
Somebody was talking about the charade and democracy and all about. I'm totally against the democracy which is happening in other political parties, where the chief minister is changed, the cabinet is changed, party president is changed, and nobody knows what is happening over there. Only two people know what is democracy is all about. I'm totally against that. But this is too much democracy. This is also not democracy.
Okay. We'll leave it there. I think that's a good place to end. Thank you very much, Tehseen. Good to have you on the show. Always fun. Ashutosh, thanks very much for your perspective. Sandip Ghose and Mr. Jindal, thank you for joining in as well. Good night. Good night to all of you.